Good morning, students. In today's class, I am going to share you the complete load flow analysis of Gauss-Seidel and also Newton-Raphson methods for your preparation. And in this class, particularly, we will be going through Newton-Raphson method. But before that, let me quickly show all the slides as a sort of a review. So, load flow analysis. All of you know what is the purpose of load flow analysis, why we conduct. It is basically to evaluate the voltage and its angle, then real power, reactive power at each and every bus. Okay, so these are the four quantities which are to be evaluated at each and every bus. So depending on the quantities, normally out of 4, 2 are specified, and for the remaining 2, we apply the techniques like iterative methods, either Gauss-Seidel or Newton-Raphson, which are mostly suitable to our power flow or load flow analysis. So bus classification, it is depending on the value specified. So load bus or PQ bus, here P and Q are specified, voltage and angle are to be evaluated. Generator bus or voltage control bus, here P and V are specified, Q and delta are to be evaluated. And the most important bus, swing bus or slack bus, where you will be given voltage and angle, P and Q are to be evaluated. So the slack bus, as I said, you can get only one such type of bus in any power system, and normally it is numbered as 1. Then load flow problem. What is a load flow problem? That is considering the power injected into, the complex power injected into a bus in general, that is SI is PI plus JQI, which we can write it as VI multiplied by JI conjugate. Okay, so from that we will be deriving what is PI minus JQI. Okay, so PI minus JQI is VI conjugate sigma YIK VK, I is 1 to N, K is 1 to N. And in this we separate out real and reactive terms, that is PI real, QI, which is reactive. So if you separate out real and reactive terms, you get one with cos of the resultant angle, the other one with sine of the resultant angle. So in these two, these are called static load flow equations, which are to be used for performing our iterations. And whenever we evaluate these voltages or powers, we should see at the end of each and every iteration, whatever we evaluate, whether it is reasonable or not. That means it may sometimes, you may get very high values or very low values which are not acceptable. So you should see from the data, if voltage, let us say voltage at a bus, it cannot be less than certain value, likewise it cannot be more than a specified maximum. So we should see the result of voltage, whether it is falling within these minimum and maximum values. Likewise the PZ and QZ, that is the real and reactive powers. So please see here, finally when we substitute the current and all, the voltage, which is 1 by YII PI minus JQI by VI conjugate minus sigma YIK VK, that is your expression with I is 1 to N, K is not equal to I. Okay, this acceleration, it is normally used in Gauss-Seidel method to accelerate the process of iterations, so that you can reduce the number of iterations. So accelerated value, how to obtain accelerated voltage, that is also explained to you clearly through an example in our previous classes. Okay. Then quickly let us go through the Gauss-Seidel method. So in Gauss-Seidel method, There are two cases. One is with PQ buses, the other is with PV buses. So out of the total number of buses, first bus is slack bus, and the remaining all buses we assume in first case as PQ buses. So when PQ buses are all present, other than slack bus, P and Q are specified, voltage and angle they are to be evaluated. So known values are P and Q, unknown values are voltage and angle. So voltage equation, which is VI is 1 by YII Pi minus JQi by VA conjugate minus sigma YIK VK, I is 2, 3, 4, etc. So that I1, which is I equal to 1, is slack bus, that refers slack bus. So where voltage is specified. So there we need not obtain voltage. It is only at the remaining PQ buses. So VI is 1 by YI, Pi minus JQi by VA conjugate minus sigma YIK VK, K is 1 to N, K is not equal to I is 2, 3, 4, etc. N. This is the equation which is to be updated. So algorithm also you can see the same thing whatever we discussed, it is there. The first and foremost step is to formulate Y bus. You should assemble Y bus. Okay. So after forming Y bus, we update the voltages through n iterations at second, third, fourth, etc. n buses. And during the process, you can also observe some of the constants which are normally not required to take up in iterations. They can be separated as some constants A, B, which reduces the computations time. But normally in our general problems, which we will be dealing with mostly 2 bus, 3 bus, and beyond that it is not possible because of the time constraint. Even in examinations, you need not expect beyond 3 bus system or at the maximum 4 bus system. So in which case, we need not apply all these techniques, minimization techniques. You can directly use that VI expression. So otherwise, you can just understand the constants are taken out so that the constant can be evaluated only once. It need not be repeatedly done in the iterations, which consumes time. And this is the flow, how you can calculate. Suppose bus 1, bus 2, or bus 2, bus 3, whether power flows from 1 to 2 or 2 to 3, such things you can calculate, and they are called power flow marking. So from a particular bus, whether it flows in or out, that can be evaluated. It is a simple, of course, normally it is you need not expect an examination, but you can just go through the procedure. So algorithm modification for PV buses. So when PV buses are present, how do you modify? That is P and V are given. What are the unknowns? Q and delta. So you take up the real and reactive power equations. From that reactive power equation, which is minus imaginary part of VI sigma YIK VK plus VI or sigma YIK VK, K is 1 to N. This is to be updated. Okay. So after getting QIs, we go with angle. Delta is nothing but angle of voltage. That voltage expression, same expression we can take here. And also it is explained, particularly when we deal with PV buses, and when you update Q, the Q value, it should be within the minimum and maximum values. If it falls beyond that range, if it falls below minimum, you fix that to minimum value. If it goes beyond maximum, above maximum value, fix that to maximum value at a particular bus. So when you are fixing Q value, that bus is to be treated as PQ bus, and its voltage specification is to be dropped or ignored. So when we treat that as PQ bus, its voltage is to be updated. So making use of flat start, again assume at that bus voltage 1 angle 0 and update its new value. Okay, that's all already explained, and also we did problems. Now please go through the flow chart corresponding to our Gauss-Seidel method. It is self-explanatory, you can just see. Then the present topic of discussion, which is Newton-Raphson method. So in this Newton-Raphson method, it is more powerful method than Gauss-Seidel, in fact, but the problem is it occupies more space, more memory. It requires more space in the computer. So that's the major problem. Otherwise, it is powerful and most preferred method, particularly for large networks. Okay. So please see, consider a set of nonlinear algebraic equations. So like the function f(i), x1, x2, x3, etc. These are all variables which is equal to 0. That means you are having n number of equations. So equal to 0, n equations with I equal to 1 to etc. n. That means you get f1, f2, f3, etc. fn number of equations. Assume initial values of unknowns like the variables x1, x2, x3, etc. xn. So let x1 0, x2 0, xn 0 are the initial values, and let the corrections, that means delta x1 0, delta x2 0, etc., delta xn 0 are the corrections. And when upon adding these corrections to the initial guess value, you get the solution. Okay, so therefore you just see they are being substituted fi of x1 0 plus delta x1 0, comma x2 0 plus delta x2 0, comma x3 0 plus delta x3 0, and so on and so forth. Last term xn 0 plus delta xn 0 equal to 0 for all I equal to 1 to 3, etc. n. Now this function, it is to be expanded, or these set of equations, we are having n equations, these are to be expanded using Taylor's series around the initial guess. So if you expand that in the form of Taylor series, you see it can be divided into fi of x1 0, comma x2 0, etc. xn 0 plus the derivative terms dou fi by dou x1 0 delta x1 0 plus dou fi by dou x2 0 delta x2 0, and so on and so forth. Dou fi by dou xn evaluated at the initial multiplied by delta xn 0 plus higher order terms equal to 0. And we will be neglecting all these higher order terms where the in between dou fi by dou x1, dou fi by dou x2, and dou fi by dou xn, these are all the derivatives of fi with respect to x1, x2, x3, etc. xn. Dou fi by dou x1, dou fi by dou x2. So these are all derivatives of fi with respect to x1 first term, with respect to x2 second term, and so on and so forth. And they are to be evaluated at x1 0, x2 0, x3 0, and so on and so forth, initial guess, because so far we are having only those values. Then the same set of equations, if we write in matrix form, you see f1 0, f2 0, f3 0, and so on and so forth, fn 0, plus the derivative terms dou f1 by dou x1, dou f1 by dou x2, and so on and so forth, dou f1 by dou xn. And next row, dou f2 by dou x1, dou f2 by dou x2, dou f2 by dou xn, and so on and so forth. And last row, dou fn by dou x1, dou fn by dou x2, dou fn by dou xn. So this is what is called the Jacobian matrix with all derivative terms, that is the Jacobian, multiplied by delta x1 0, delta x2 0, and so on and so forth, delta xn 0 equal to 0. So n number of equations, all are equal to 0. So this is in short form we write f0 plus j0 delta x0 equal to 0. Okay, f0 plus J0 Jacobian matrix evaluated at initial conditions multiplied by delta x0 equal to 0. So that's what is given here. J0 is known as the Jacobian matrix obtained by differentiating the function vector f with respect to x and evaluated at x0. So if you take the first, it is to be evaluated with x10. Okay, so likewise. So f0, I'm just rearranging the terms. f0 is minus j0 delta x0. Okay, and updating x1 is x0 plus delta x0. In general, rth iteration xr plus 1 is xr plus delta xr, is it not, from the general terms. So iterations are to be continued till the satisfied value with particular accuracy is obtained. So what is accuracy means fi of x of r, it should be always less than or equal to error specified or epsilon. So whatever values we evaluate, they must be within the error specified for all values I equal to 1 to n. So this is what is the Newton-Raphson method. But the problem here is, you can see, evaluating Jacobian matrix. That means in each and every iteration, these Jacobian values, which are derivatives of the function, the partial derivatives of the function, are to be evaluated or updated, which is a very hard process or tough process, because we will be having all complex terms, and also these values in each iteration updating and then getting substituting, it takes more time, particularly when the buses, if they are 4 or 5, you will be getting 4 by 5 4 matrix or 5 by 5 matrix. So that many terms are to be evaluated, which is a very hard process. Normally, if you want to do manually, so for a computer, normally it's a routine. So through computer, it is more easy, but it occupies more space, as mentioned. Please also observe the low flow chart that is given for the Newton-Raphson method. Then for your sake of understanding, a small problem which is not connected to our power system problem, but a general problem is taken so that you can understand the procedure and then the complexity involved in this. And also it gives you a better concept what Newton-Raphson method and how it is to be utilized to update the values. So please consider x1 square minus 4x2 minus 4 equal to 0. Then second equation 2x1 minus x2 minus 2 equal to 0. So these equations you are asked to solve with initial values x1 0 1, x2 0 minus 1. So first you substitute f1 x1 0 comma x2 0 in first equation. If you substitute, you will be getting 1 plus 4 minus 4, which is equal to 1. And if you substitute in second equation 2x1 minus x2 minus 2 equal to 0, that is f2 evaluated with x1 0 x2 0, it gives you 2 plus 1 minus 2, which is 1. That means I am just substituting x1 0 x2 zeros in first equation, that is f1 x1 0 comma x2 0, and upon substituting in second equation, that is f2 of x1 0 x2 0 is 1. And partial derivatives are required to form Jacobian matrix. So partial derivatives evaluated at x1 0 and x2 0 are dou f1 by dou x1. What is dou f1 by dou x1? You differentiate the first equation, that gives you 2x1. That is, if you substitute x1 0 value, you get 2. Likewise, dou f2 by dou x1, second equation, it is to be derivated, differentiate with respect to x1. That value is 2. And substitute the values, initial values. Then dou f2 by dou x2. Likewise, dou f2 by dou f1 by dou x2. So you are having two equations. Each equation is to be differentiated with respect to x1 with respect to x2. Okay, so dou f1 by dou x1, dou f1 by dou x2, dou f2 by dou x1, dou f2 by dou x2. These are the four values you get. Okay, so these four values you need to again find the what we call the updated values. So updated value, how do you get? f1 x10 x20 plus delta x10 dou f1 by dou x1 plus delta x20 dou f1 by dou x2 equal to 0. That means the matrix we are expanding here. So likewise f2 x10 x20 plus delta x10 dou f2 by dou x1 plus delta x20 dou f2 by dou x2 equal to 0. So substitute all these values because the derivatives are already evaluated. Substitute, you get what are delta x10 the value, delta x20 the values from this. The unknowns are x10 and delta x10 and delta x20, the corrections. So better estimates now, that is x11 is x10 plus delta x10, is it not? The previous value plus the error value. Likewise, the second x21, which is x20 plus delta x20. So these are the new values, x11, x21. And again, taking these, we proceed in similar lines, and we find that at the end of second iteration, x12, x22, the values are given there. That means again you need to substitute in the partial derivatives. Okay. Then at the end of third iteration, x13 is also given for your verification. x13 0.5359, x23 minus 0.9282. So likewise you need to continue for any number of iterations, but as I said, it is most convenient for digital computer only. Manually if you want to do, it is a tough job. Only for small equations like this we may be doing, but otherwise it is a tough job. So next one, it is comparison of load flow methods. So Gauss-Seidel method and Newton-Raphson method, so far we completed. So if you consider Gauss-Seidel method and Newton-Raphson method, it is both are suitable for our power system problems, but normally the program with rectangular coordinates, it suits for GS method, whereas Newton-Raphson method requires more memory when you use rectangular coordinates. So polar coordinates are more convenient for Newton-Raphson method. Then the Gauss-Seidel method requires smaller number of iterations. So with less number of iterations you may get the convergence. For the small networks, and also the time required per iteration, it is small in case of Gauss-Seidel method. Whereas if you go with Newton-Raphson method, it suits for larger networks. It takes more time for each iteration, that is roughly 7 times to that of Gauss-Seidel iteration method. Okay, the time required per iteration, it is more in Newton-Raphson method. Then the rate of convergence, if you consider Gauss-Seidel method, it is linear convergence. So irrespective of the size of the network, almost it takes same time for giving out the results. Whereas in Newton-Raphson method, it follows quadratic convergence. So it is best among all the problems. If even for large networks, it gives quick results. That is the main advantage of NR method. So that's what it is mentioned. The number of iterations for Gauss-Seidel method increases directly as the number of buses, whereas number of iterations for Newton-Raphson method remains practically constant and independent of the size of the network. Newton-Raphson method needs 3 to 5 iterations to reach an acceptable solution, whereas Gauss-Seidel method, the convergence is affected by the presence of particularly series capacitors, and the sensitivity of the Newton-Raphson method is minimal to these factors. That means it is Newton-Raphson method is ultimately a faster method than Gauss-Seidel method. So within 3 to 5 iterations you get the convergence in Newton-Raphson method, whereas Gauss-Seidel method may take a few tens of iterations. The chief advantage of Gauss-Seidel method is the ease of programming. Programming and algorithm is easy, whereas the Newton-Raphson method, it is complex because it involves Jacobian matrix and updating Jacobian elements in each and every iteration. The Newton-Raphson method is directly more suitable than Gauss-Seidel methods for all, but for very small systems. For small systems, best is Gauss-Seidel. Okay, but of course Newton-Raphson method suits for everything, and Gauss-Seidel method is not directly suitable for larger networks. Then also let me mention about fast decoupled load flow methods. For FDLF, the convergence is geometric. 2 to 5 iterations are normally required for practical accuracies, and is more reliable than Newton-Raphson because it is next version, that is the updated version of Newton-Raphson method is fast decoupled load flow method. And in fast decoupled load flow methods, nearly 5 times the formal Newton-Raphson method. That means about 2/3 of that Gauss-Seidel method. That means the requirement of storage. The disadvantage of NR method is it occupies more memory. That is optimized in decoupled load flow methods. So that's what it is mentioned. It occupies less than the Newton-Raphson method. Storage requirements is about 60% only. And FDLF can be employed in optimization studies and is specially used for accurate information or for both real and reactive power for multiple load flow studies as the contingency evaluation or system security assessment and enhancement analysis. So normally the procedure is, suppose if you are a fresh candidate, if you don't know anything, then apply Gauss-Seidel method. Okay. Or if you are very confident, if you can manage with Newton-Raphson, you can start with Newton-Raphson, but the initial values, how do you get for Newton-Raphson? So normally the results obtained through Gauss-Seidel, they can be used as startup values for Newton-Raphson method. This is how we follow. Okay. So up to this, you can prepare well so that you can expect the questions in university only 1 or 2 iterations of Gauss-Seidel only, that too with 3 or at the maximum 4 bus system, out of which anyway first bus is slack bus, and you need not expect any problems in Newton-Raphson method as it consumes more time. At the maximum you may be asked to write the algorithm and then flowchart. So all of you prepare flowcharts, algorithms, and then go through the worked out examples other than what we solved in the class. Okay. So please let me stop here. Thank you.